Finally, I found a replacement for my G915 and it's definitely going to beat this keyboard because compared to G915, this keyboard is on another level, okay? So for gaming, I use TKL. For work and workflow, I use the, well, that's 60%, I think, MX Keys Mini. And this keyboard is definitely something quite appealing. Quickly unboxing, you get a keyboard, you get this adapter that you can connect to this cable and get let's say more range when we're talking about the dongle. Then you can charge your keyboard with it and you can use it as a wired connection as well, which I don't think that was a possibility when we're talking about some other keyboards. But regardless of that, wireless dongle that you use LIGHTSPEED, and you can pair it up with a mouse that is compatible using one USB to two devices, so 2 to 1. We have a G502X Plus and you can use this keyboard as well. Now the first thing that I noticed, because I had an opportunity today to check out the white version as well, because this one was boxed, and first thing I noticed was the keycaps, right? So they had a texture and I wasn't 100% sure, but now I'm definitely sure. We're talking about double shot PBT keycaps, low profile of course, and this is outstanding because compared to the G915, which didn't have, it was plastic ABS, and of course it leaves stains. Finally we have a keyboard that has a double shot PBT keycaps on this particular form factor. And that's a big improvement compared to the G915. Of course, if we compare to other brands and other manufacturers, they already had a PBT TKL keyboard. But when we compare it to Logitech, then we're having something quite cool and really appreciated. Then we go further. We have quite nice design. So the main factor, what they did here with this keyboard, is the thickness. So we're talking here about 22 millimeters of thickness, of height of the keyboard without the legs, the height adjustment legs. We have 4 degrees and we have 8 degrees if you desire to raise it up. At the back we have a small storage for your dongle if you desire to carry it around, because honestly this is possible to carry around because we're talking about a very slim keyboard. Now let's go quickly through some parts. We have a caps lock indication light, and next to it we have a battery indication light. Right behind it we have an on-off switch, which is quite logical. And then we go on the further left side, we have LIGHTSPEED connection, which I noticed you have to press when you connect the dongle for the first time, because initially my PC didn't, well, it did recognize it, but in G Hub it stated it was inactive. So when I pressed the LIGHTSPEED, it immediately recognized it in G Hub. Then we have a Bluetooth button and we have a game button. Now the cool thing about this keyboard, we're talking about low profile GL tactile switches right here. These are brown switches, but when you remove the keycap, you can actually see that it's Keilich beneath that. And that's quite logical. I mean, Logitech, I think they only had a couple of times their own switches. But here we go further. Pre-lubed switches. We have dampening material inside the chassis, so you don't have echo. And the typing is really nice compared to, well, I'm okay with G915, and that was my main keyboard for quite some time when we're talking about gaming. And taking into consideration that this keyboard actually is a possibility for me personally, now I'm talking about personal stuff, to switch MX keys and to switch everything all together and just use this one. Okay, I have more fluidity when typing when we're talking about MX keys compared to this one, but this keyboard is really everything that I wanted. It doesn't take up too much space compared to G915, and I'm going into that segment because we're talking here about upgraded version of G915, at least I think. So that's why I'm comparing it with that. Nice slim design on top. We don't have actually a wheel at the top like we have on G915, which is okay-ish, but you do have multifunctional buttons with an FN buttons. You can adjust the brightness here, you can adjust, well, multimedia buttons, play, pause, stop, fast forward, fast backward, and you can turn on or off the sound, raise up or down the volume. Next in line, when we enter the G Hub, now this is where it gets interesting. You have a possibility, well, they call it a key control, so you have per key customization for key binding, mapping and layers, which is outstanding. Then we go further because you have LightSync RGB backlight keys with signature lighting for Logitech that you could do, but you also have loads of other stuff when we're talking about lighting and adjusting the lights. Of course, you can go with fixed and similar stuff like that, but you have possibility to go really deep into that and synchronize the lighting to your PC, to your gaming and everything else all together. The key binding and everything else is quite easy done through Logitech G Hub. But there's also one more thing that you could do is when you activate the game mode, well, basically when you enter the Logitech G Hub, you can adjust what keys you want to turn off while the game mode is on, so you don't accidentally press it. This is also really cool because, I mean, I know some of the keyboards, some other keyboards and other brands have that already, and I think Logitech did that as well before, but I'm mentioning what it has now. The cool thing is that even the bottom part looks outstanding. I mean, when we're talking about general quality, final finish and everything all together, this looks brilliant. I'm really loving the design. I'm really loving the double shot PBT keycaps. And the outstanding thing is that the color scheme altogether looks outstanding. It really does fit quite nicely, and I'm really digging the whole grayish black on the keycaps design that goes throughout, similar to the G915, but still this is an outstanding keyboard. It has an actual weight to it, and I have to admit, whatever they did with this keyboard while typing and everything all together, this is outstanding. So you have tactile and linear, you don't have clicky switches, which honestly I don't mind. I have the G915 with clicky switches, and after quite some time it really gets on my nerves, so I actually do prefer these Kylic brown switches that are beneath. Did I mention they are pre-lubed? I think I did. The cool thing about the switches, since I mentioned that they are pre-lubed, we have low profile GL mechanical switches, as I already said, Kylic brown switches, which have actuation point of 1.3 millimeters, and that's quite alright. I do have to admit, I mean, it's really nice. The 22 millimeter construction is really nice and really ergonomical, because I could type normally without, because I'm used to low profile keyboards now, and getting back to the standard size, I really can't. This is really on my personal side, and these keyboards are the thing that really keeps me going when we're talking about workflow gaming and all together, and this is quite outstanding. So ergonomic support in all positions, all three positions, so flat, 4 degrees, 8 degrees, outstanding. Sound dampening layered construction, which definitely, as already stated, gives us some nice key presses in terms of no echoing, no additional sound, and that's quite important. You can use G Hub to create a personalized control center and program up to 15 functions per key with the key control. Now, this is what I was trying to tell you. Map any key to suit whatever you want. It's all up to you to decide. And with 16.8 million colors with LightSync RGB, you can create custom lighting effects, synchronize and unify your gear, so mouse, keyboard, headset, and basically just have everything into that whole immersion gaming. I know when we're talking about keyboards, in general stuff, and when you mention lighting, some of you guys, I understand, that are not interested in lighting in general, and that doesn't have to do anything with the whole experience while typing and everything all together. But there is also other segment, other audience that actually do prefer the lighting, and they do want to synchronize it completely with their other gear, completely with their gaming environment, completely with, I don't know, lights above their setup or anything similar to that. So I have to mention that, and that is one of the also important things for those guys who actually do prefer that. Now let's check out the sound of the switches and how everything all together with the dampening, with the lubrication and everything sounds. For you guys that are more into custom keyboards, or for some of you guys that are more into something else, you'll most likely not be satisfied. And let's be honest, you can't achieve a custom keyboard in this except if you're going with something like Ducky. But when we take into consideration this, let's check it out and let's see what we have here. Definitely what I can say is huge improvements from the past keyboards, really much more appealing when we're talking about typing fluidity, key presses, and even the sound. Of course, it can always be better, and of course you can always go with that. But when you take into consideration that the G915, when it came out, was 220 euros, I think it was something like that. I'm talking about TKL version, or 190. It was something like that. This keyboard is 150 euros. And when we take into consideration other keyboards, it's somewhere there, okay? You might find something for 100 euros, but when there is one point that I stay behind Logitech, and that is the construction. None of the keyboards, for my personal taste, and when you take into consideration and compare it to other keyboards, you don't get this flawless design. The outer shape, the outer design, the final finish, the edges, it's just immaculate. And this is why I love Logitech in those terms, because they really put effort into creating a flawless design on, okay, there might be some products that they eventually skip in the design segment, but this keyboard really ticks all the boxes, right? So all in all, what I can say in this price category, comparing to the past keyboards and everything all together, and when you take into consideration that when the G915 came out, it was 190, this is currently on their website 150, which of course I do appreciate, since comparing to that keyboard, we have PBT double shot keycaps. This is a lower keyboard, this is 22 millimeters. We have pre-looped switches, which are Kylie Brown, so GX tactile. 1.3 millimeter actuation point, and altogether quite an outstanding shape, design in general, like the visual aspect. Oh yeah, I forgot the dampening layer that really does prevent additional noises, echoing and stuff like that. USB Type-C here for charging, and it goes up to 36 hours on one charge, which is quite solid, I would say. Quite solid. That's it, guys. If you have any questions, comments, or anything similar to that, leave them in the comment section, and of course I'll try to answer, discuss, or anything similar to that. If you think this video helped you decide if this keyboard is worthy of switching from G915, I can say definitely yes, and I'll definitely do that myself. But if you're still satisfied with G915 and all the stains on the keycaps, you know what to do. So guys, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, click the notification bell, and I'll see you in another one. Bye bye.